This is Leave Your Mark. I'm Vince Cortese, and today's guest is Benny Fisher. He is a visionary entrepreneur with truly inspiring background. He's born in Canton, Ohio. He's faced numerous challenges and setbacks throughout his life, including being diagnosed with ADHD at a young age, and then later in life being fired from corporate sales jobs. After a difficult period of drug trafficking, bankruptcy, and homelessness, Benny moved to Pittsburgh to work with his uncle on a roofing company in 2010, where he found his new purpose and direction in life. Benny, thank you for being my guest here today.
Thanks, Vince. Glad to be here.
Hi there, and welcome. Now it's time for America's favorite podcast, Leave Your Mark, with your host, Vince Cortese.
If it's fly, loose fitted, it's Cortese. If freezing, chubbers in it, it's Cortese.
Leave Your Mark is about inspiring the world, one guest at a time.
Pass the word from Brooklyn to Pittsburgh, from urban to suburb, it's Cortese, you heard?
And here is our host, Vince Cortese.
All right, so you're pretty much a local guy. Would you consider Canton, Ohio, Midwest?
Yeah. Ohio's definitely the Midwest. I wonder if Pittsburgh is considered the Midwest. I feel like the border is like right here somewhere.
I think you're right about that. There's somewhere in between, because that we talked about the synergy of like Cincinnati, Cleveland, Buffalo, and Pittsburgh. And if it's not Midwest, it's pre-Midwest. It's just, but there's a certain flavor, the personalities of people in that handful of cities is very similar. And you're over in Ohio. Are you a Cincinnati Bengal fan?
No, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so don't tell anybody in Steeler Nation that.
Oh, wow. Cleveland Brown. And you're living in Pittsburgh unscathed?
Yeah. So I think everyone feels sorry for me, actually.
No, that humility is going to change on a Pittsburgh fan. You wait and see. But anyhow, you have quite a story. You're a self-made man and on so many fronts, and you have an interesting beginning. So you're born in Canton, Ohio, and raised there. And your mom, Lori, is a hospital administrator, and your dad, Mark, is a solopreneur and a salesman of hearing aid products. And your mother got remarried at a young age. You have a stepdad named Dave, and he was a steel worker.
Yep.
So you got plenty of parenting there. You're the oldest of four kids, sister Ashley, Courtney, and your brother David. Now, in your childhood, you said you were middle class raised. I like this one.
Yeah.
Dinner at 4 p.m. sharp. I like it. Not a whole lot of families eat dinner together these days. Lots of rules, love and discipline, and the Baptist church on Wednesday and Sunday. So share with me some of those moments that went on there when you were younger and you're being the oldest of four.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, parents were trying to survive, all three of my parents just always surviving, right? Never, they just had enough to get by, it always seemed like. Always, complained about not really loving their job, not feeling appreciated at their job, but always continuing to do the same thing. They've all done the same thing for, I feel like 30 or 40 years now. And, just growing up, it was just like a lot of rules, a lot of strictness, a lot of control. And so it was one of those things that was interesting, because in my mind, I had all these ideas and I had all these visions and all these things that I'm like, wow, you can do this and you can do that. And I would try to share that with, especially my family. And sometimes that didn't go over well, so it was definitely an interesting childhood. But, by all accounts, it was a very good childhood. I learned a lot from it. There's also some things that, I'll do differently as a parent now, but it definitely shaped who I am. That's for sure.
Okay. Now we move on to high school, Massillon Perry Panthers.
Yeah.
And you got interests. You're in baseball card collecting, backyard sports, and video games. Now, what year did you graduate?
I graduated high school in 99. So that was it was an interesting year. I remember prom that year was right after the Columbine shooting. And that was like the first big school shooting, I feel like, if you remember. And so that's kind of the era I grew up. .com was booming. It was like, that was, back in the late 90s. I had grown up I had internet since the age of, at my dad's house. He was kind of always in the tech and computers. And so we had the internet early. So every weekend when we go to his house, I had the internet, I think by age 10. So like 91, I was on the internet
Oh,
and
wow.
starting to learn computers and starting to learn how all that stuff works. Very fascinated with all that. And so I think that kind of, those curiosities are coming into play now in my early 40s, because I feel like it's starting to take off with this AI and
Oh yeah, it's taking root
all
in a big way.
the web3 and the NFT stuff. So I'm like finding myself, I'm like a kid again. So it's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
fun. It's kind of fun.
total new beginning, especially on the commerce front. Real quick, that was an enormous video game era. What was your favorite video game at that time?
Like I was a big Madden fan, you know, I liked all the sports games, but I would say Madden football, Tiger Woods golf. I think Tiger Woods golf just came out.
Are you still playing any of these today?
No, I don't play. Man, I haven't played video
Oh
games
man,
in
you
so
gotta
long.
loosen up.
I listen. I have an 8-year-old son, and he's got me playing every once in a while, so I'll pick it up. And but he doesn't like the same kind of games that I do. So you know, I'm into more shooting games, like war games or sports games, and he's into like Minecraft and like Roblox. And
Okay.
it's you know, it's a little bit just different. So I'm trying to get back into it.
Now you graduate and it's time to go to college or get a job, and you decide to go to Kent State University. It was a brief stay. We're thinking
a real brief stay. You know, the back then in the 90s, you know, most of the kids if your parents didn't go to college, which my parents didn't, nobody graduated from college in my family. So I could have been the first kid to, like, you know, go to school and graduate from college. And so there was a lot of pressure. And, you know, all my other friends, that was kind of like the thing to do. And I hated school to begin with because I never felt comfortable there. Teachers always kind of made me feel uncomfortable. I didn't really like doing homework. I think my ADHD, anything I wasn't interested in, I didn't want to do. But things that I was interested in, I was really good at. And I would consider myself, you know, pretty intelligent. But people would look at me as like, oh, he doesn't want to do homework. Oh, and then I would get B's and C's. And I went to college for like 3 weeks and decided it wasn't for me. And I always had a job, even since I was 15 years old. I worked at a grocery store, and I decided that I saw an ad in the paper that you can make $100,000 a year selling cars. And I was like, screw college, screw this grocery store job. I'm going to go be rich.
I can't like it. The lure of money takes them out. So now, big decision there. So what part? So the carryover from high school was that, or when you got to college, it just wasn't what you thought it was going to be?
I don't know. It was what I thought it was, but I realized that, like, and I actually had to pay for my own college because my parents were like, hey, if you're going to go, you're going to pay your own way, which they were smart, because then I realized I didn't really want to go. But there was that weird pressure to go. It was kind of weird, but anyway, I don't know. I went 3 weeks, and, you know, I went to socialize in the mornings before class. Everybody would like kind of hang out in the cafeteria area. And then I realized that class was actually boring. And then I would just find myself socializing in the hallways and in the cafeteria. And then a couple of weeks later, I realized I wasn't even going into the class anymore. And then I just stopped going completely to the campus. And then saw that ad for a car sales job.
Enough.
That was history. And I did try another stint a couple of years later after I got fired a few times from jobs, because I thought, all right, well, maybe the career path isn't good. Maybe I'll have to go back to school to learn something. And that lasted a week, and I got bored with it again. So.
All right. Well, then this ties into how it kind of rolls out here. So now you got multiple car sales jobs. You're dabbling back in education. You got on here GE Money, Verizon Wireless, and then it gets to the part where it gets real interesting. You have on here a low-level drug dealer, 2 times convicted felon, later expunged.
Yeah, that was
okay.
So
what happened here? Now we're talking. You sounded rather complexant with school or no school, job or no job. And you wind up in getting in trouble like this. So how did it come about, and how do you get expunged? How do you get out of it and get yourself going again?
So, yeah, 2 parts to that. So I think it was the constant rejection of not fitting into these jobs that I was getting, kind of like not fitting in at school. Felt like I was always getting rejected and I wasn't good enough, right? But inside my heart, I knew that I had something more. So I'd always go try again, right? I was very persistent. And, you know, looking back, I tried car sales and different types of jobs like that from probably like 2000 to like 2006. And then I was at a party one time and I had a little too much to drink and somebody offered me some drugs. And I had never done drugs to that point. Never did a hard drug ever, because I was always scared because I grew up in that strict Christian home. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did it. And then one thing led to another. And, then another buddy asked me about it. And then I realized that he needed something. So next thing I know, I was buying and selling these little bags of cocaine because that's what people wanted. And it felt good because people were respecting me and I was being accepted. And I was making money and I was like checking off all these boxes. And through years of therapy and analysis of being able to like kind of dissect what was happening, I would get bored doing things that I didn't really have a purpose and a passion for. And then I would just keep moving around. Right. And I got caught up with some of the wrong people. And eventually I got caught, a couple of years after that, and got some felonies on my record. Didn't have to go to jail, luckily, because I didn't have any criminal background before that. And, for all intents and purposes, I was a good kid by the judges, looking at my family. And, I got involved with the church again and had the pastor write a letter and did some of those things. So I was spared from going to prison, but I was still on probation. And during that probation is when my uncle called me from Pittsburgh and said, "Hey man, he knew that everybody knew I wasn't gonna be able to get a real job ever again, like, and do anything like meaningful, because like the only path I knew was these corporations and, they don't want felons working for them." So, I thought I was doomed. So when my uncle called me, I said, "Heck yeah, man, I'll come over and help with sales and marketing at your roofing company." And I was excited to get away from, the life that I had there in Ohio, because, at that point, like everybody it seemed like I was a failure. No matter if I was in sales jobs, even in drug dealing, I was considered a failure. I got caught. It was just bad. Right. And I didn't have any really good mentors or friends, at the time. It was, some of the just people that you were partying and hanging out with, and they weren't really building you up. Right. And so I took that opportunity to move to Pittsburgh, and it really started to really change my life. Because I got myself into a new environment, and I still had struggles. I've had lots of struggles since I've been here in Pittsburgh, but that fresh start's really helped me.
Connect with us on LinkedIn. Be our friend on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Whether jumping out the MP or jumping on the app.
You are listening to Vince Cortese. We just want you to leave your mark.
Okay, so now you arrived in Pittsburgh, and in 2015, you found Big Fish Contracting.
Yeah.
And
so
this actually, because we're currently doing this. And so like this takes root now, where from 2015 to where we currently are, you begin to go in a different direction in life. So that experience of the fresh start is obviously a turning point in your life. Just besides feeling good, you turn around and started acting on the next opportunity. And, here we are. So share with me the idea why you founded Big Fish and how it progressed. And we'll get into what happens beyond that, because you start snowballing here. So 2015 founded Big Fish.
Yeah, so basically what happened is social media was on the rise, and it really started getting big in 2010, 11, 12, Facebook. And I had been working for my uncle, selling roofs and doing some marketing. And, I had a lot of my own ideas. After working with my uncle for 5 years, we realized that, like, again, some of those same things that were happening in my previous jobs were like, it was starting to get clunky. I was starting to not feel like I fit in. It's because I had ideas and I had different ways that I wanted to do things. And then me and my uncle parted ways. So, but I saw a big need, because he was a commercial roofing contractor, and we did some residential, but I saw a big need in residential roofing in Pittsburgh, because there was no professional people. There was like no one professional taking care of customers. People were getting ripped off by Chuck and the Chuck type of contractors, people that would like take their down payment money. And so I wanted to found a company that like had an extremely awesome, concierge customer service, that were, have employees that can like grow and thrive in an organization, that where like, an employee can never like get frustrated. Like I don't want people to not be able to grow in my company. So I always want to be able to keep abundant growth going, because I feel like everywhere else I always had like I feel like I was always capped. And there wasn't a lot of upside. So I want to make sure that there's a company that can grow, and I want to have leave a legacy that is built in the community based on high quality products and amazing value we give to the community. So that's another important part of, having a company is being able to deal with all three things, right? the employees and the customer service, and then have a vehicle to where you can kind of be creative for myself and kind of have my own little playground that I can get to create and dominate.
Now, this all spawned from coming down here to Pittsburgh and your initial experience. So, what you have is you building a business that runs itself is a philosophy. Share with me what you mean by that.
Well, that's the other thing. When I never knew anything about small business, so I came here and I got the mentor from my uncle, but my uncle would still be very involved in the business, and even at I don't know, he's probably in his late 50s now, but all these other small business owners that I would see, they were kind of like reminding me of my dad. Like they were like they were working like all the time, like actually more than they would be if they had actually another job. And I was like, what's the point of owning your own business? Like, if you have to work that much and work that hard, don't you want to have a business that can kind of run itself? And then again, when the owner gets out of the way, people can rise up and there's more growth potential. So that was really big for me because I was like, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to figure out how to help other people get where they want to get. Because if I can help other people get where they want to get, I'll get where I want to get. And that's kind of always been my philosophy. So ever since we started Big Fish Contracting Company, I've been trying to, delegate and elevate. So that way there's, an never ending growth.
This is awesome. Now you have the skill set of playing video games and being adjusted to artificial intelligence and what e-commerce would turn into now. Mm-hmm. Your success was in the brick and mortar world in this contracting business. How does one help the other? And then how are they different, e-commerce versus brick and mortar?
Well, I think that, the buying and selling and the transacting on the front side is going to become a lot more e-commerce, right? Gone are going to be the days when you're going to need people to come out to your house, talk to you at your kitchen table. We're doing a lot of digital things. We're booking appointments online, using calendars. We're doing Zoom calls. COVID really helped kind of shift this home improvement industry more into more of the digital world. Now, listen, granted, you're still going to have to come out and touch the roof, do some, obviously re-roof, re-side, do the work at the house, but parts of the business can be automated. The marketing, there's a lot of things in marketing that we can use for automations and even customer follow-up. We can run different systems to where customers can always be understanding where they're at in the process. And when they write a question in, somebody's going to respond, right? Sometimes there's an auto responder. So customer service is going to become more e-commerce, if that makes sense. But there's still going to be the need for the physical in the field until we're in the metaverse, like in 50 years. And then we'll just, be building things in the metaverse.
All right. Now, how different would you say they are? Because the internet's still forming itself while you're getting this business together, and you and your uncle are doing the physical part of it. So the artificial intelligence really falls to your entrepreneurship or ownership of having more free time to yourself. So how much did that shift where, hey, I got this marketing thing down now, I get it, it's saving me even more time, and that whole brick and mortar business just got a whole lot easier. So share with me, because you've gone even beyond this. Now you're a speaker and a marketer and a podcaster, so you've gripped the whole e-commerce thing. So you jump out of the brick and mortar world and, here you've arrived. So what is your biggest moment of, I don't have to do that anymore, or I'm glad that's over, or where's your excitement leading you?
Probably for me, I had a career in sales, right? So when I was able to train and delegate and hire salespeople to be able to sell a product and a service that I created, that was an aha moment, because that allowed me the time to then work on my other parts of the business, the operations, the marketing. I've always had a passion for marketing, but never got to spend a whole lot of time in it because I was always busy trying to survive by selling things, right? And so now I have the ability to kind of look overall the whole business, as an actual real CEO, instead of just, a one-man band, hiring a couple buddies along the way. I can now fix things in operations and in finance, and I can make those departments flow together using technology and applications to be able to reduce the number of employees and the number of crisscross communication, because that's what happens when you have more humans talking to each other. Is it's the communication's not as effective. We still need lots of humans, so I don't want anybody to get scared, but it's just to enable us to scale faster with less amount of people. And at a time where I had $12,000 when I started this business. I mean, that was all the money I had to my name. So, and it's an 8-figure company. So it's a $10 million company like that has, over the short period of 7 years. Right. And then I'm using what I know now in leadership and culture and communication and training and building a business. And now I get to talk to other business owners who want some of that knowledge, who want some of that juice. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in training and my own therapy and coaches and courses. So basically when I said that, like, oh, I hated school, no, I just wanted to learn about things that I wanted to learn about. And then I took it to another level. So, and then I just love sharing that information, because I feel like people shouldn't have to go through everything I had to do, all the pain, all the hurt, all the spending money on all the courses. Maybe we could fast track that a little bit. So that's why I do workshops and speaking engagements. And, my podcast is more of a passion project, kind of like probably what you love to do, right, Vince? I started that just to share stories with other people that I meet along the way. And it's fun for me. That's where I get my true joy, right? Is just interacting with other people, learning from their stories. And that way I can kind of package all that up and help other people into the future.
It's amazing.
If you are listening from Australia, Florida, or just from around the corner,
from East Coast to West Coast outlets, if you're not to the dirty South straight, make a left and body.
Contact us. Leave your mark with your host, Vince Cortese.
You said that Gary Vaynerchuk is an influence of yours. When did you come across Gary's message? Do you remember his first message? And then, he's edgy. He's definitely edgy. That's probably what caught my attention. And first of all, I'm like, what's this guy swearing all the time? He's like really like a kind of annoying a little bit. And I don't remember exactly the first message. I just remember, seeing some YouTube videos, and I would, I was busy surviving. So I didn't have a lot of time to play on the internet, but when I would pop on, there would always be something from him. And he was always doing something on YouTube, and he was like having fun with business. I think he helped his mom and dad's wine store. And I just kind of always kept them in the back of my head. Like when I would log on to Facebook or Instagram, you would just see like things from time to time from him. And he looked like he was having fun building a business and basically telling everybody how he's building it, while he's building it, and why he's building it. I found that fascinating. I just kept, I feel like little bits and pieces indoctrinated in me. And it really helped me understand marketing at a lot different of a level, because then I just started paying attention more. And I was genuinely interested and curious anyway, but once I put the intention behind it, because he kind of inspired me to put intention behind it. And that's when I realized that's where the media and the brand and the marketing is what basically that's the secrets to everything. Now you have building a business or building a career based on customer service. How has this come into play for you?
Well, I mean, even as a young boy, when I would go door to door selling candy bars, right, to raise money for my Little League baseball team, to working in the grocery store, to helping customers come in the car dealership that was trying to find the right vehicle for them, or, selling cell phones to people that didn't know what cell phones were back in the, late or mid 2000s, because grandma and grandpa still didn't have cell phones in 2004 and 5. Well, Ben Fisher had to explain to them why they needed one. And so that was really fun. And the drug thing, that wasn't, it was kind of fun, but like, it was kind of more of a thing just to survive, and, you can make quick cash. So like learning about how to scale systems and do a little bit, more or less, and then having your own distribution. I mean, I get, there's a lot of parallels between all that and business, which is interesting, right? Cause you have to like, navigate, suppliers and then sellers, and like, it's wild. So you kind of learn a lot of skills. I'm not suggesting anybody does that.
But you get a different education.
Yeah. You're able to, take on more adversity, right? And be more persistent, right? Because when you get told no, like you figure out a way to keep moving forward, right? And so customer service is all of that, right? Because customers are very needy nowadays, especially with all the technology that's out there. I mean, they want everything now, and they want to wow. And so how do you combine Disney World experience with Amazon, like service, like speed. And it's
Delivery.
like, that's what I'm trying to figure out how to do. And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do as far as companies go, is try to merge the two together.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question. If someone were to be interested in starting a business online, what advice would you have to give them?
First piece of advice is like, find out what your why is. Like, why are you wanting to start a business online? And then really dig deep. And hopefully it's not just, oh, I want to make a bunch of money and I want to retire one day, because that's just not enough. So you need to dig deeper, because when the going gets tough, and it will, what's going to make you get up that morning and not quit and keep on going? And you really need to know what that is, because if you don't, it's going to be hard to find success long term.
Now, as far as you've come in and you continue to keep expanding, what do you see is next for you, and where do you see yourself in 3 years from now?
So right now I want to continue to learn and develop. I still feel like I have a lot to learn as being a CEO and being in charge of a whole organization. I consider myself a really good guy to start your team with. If you want to start something brand new up and you want to go hard and go fast, I'm now starting to realize that those same skill sets don't really apply when you're running a company with, 30, 40 employees and, 15 subcontracting crews and lots of vendors and distributors. It's a different type of skill set. So I'm trying to learn how to slow myself down a little bit at that top level, so that way I don't give everybody whiplash, in the organization, because I can go fast, right? So I'm trying to learn how to do that. And then, but at the other time, I'm still trying to be that fast start guy. That's why I'm trying to develop my own personal brand. I started BennyFisher.com, to where I can do more speaking engagements, travel to more conferences. I started a content team. So, much like Gary V Inspired, I have a camera guy that follows me around a lot. We're shooting podcasts, we're creating a lot of content, documenting the journey. So that's fun and exciting, right? So I can still be the CEO, and I don't have to stir stuff up at Big Fish Contracting anymore. I can use my, superpowers at, relationships, and start things and start to grow other avenues that will basically help the organization as a whole. And then any other company that I get involved with, whether it's as a consultant or maybe as an investor, maybe sitting on their board, I'll be able to then offer all the strengths that I have to a company without actually having to be the one to run it, because I don't think I'm probably the best at running a company. I think I'm the best at getting a company going. But I don't think I'm the best at that long-term, just steady growth, because I get a little bored.
All right. So in a quick summary, you've come quite a long way in your short time on this earth. You've had an incredible experience in your childhood. It's contributed to the person you are today. And you paid for your education, probably 6 digits heavy. Instead of Kent State, you might have got a little bit lesser price in that, not the courses you wanted. But, here you stand. And you are in full bloom right now, my man. I'm watching you, and you just get a little lit up when you're talking about what you do and the excitement for it and the excitement for helping other people. So, how at this time, how would you like to be remembered? How will you want to leave your mark?
I want to be remembered as someone who led, people with love and inspired others to be vulnerable, because I think vulnerability is the secret to helping others on their journey. I want to be able to share stories, and I want to be able to use those stories to fuel passion and purpose. And that's what I'm going to do.
Like it. All right, Benny, share with me all your information real quick on where we can find you on the internet and your .com information and so forth.
Yeah, the easiest place to get a hold of me, if you just want to connect on social media, you can go to BennyFisher.com. All my social channels will be there. If you need any help at your business, if you just need a little bit of a push or an inspiration, hit me up, send me an email. I do work with teams. I can, do consulting on marketing, sales, business organization. I'm definitely loving to be on podcast. I'm looking for some guests on my podcast. So if you have an interesting story, the podcast is thebigfishcares.com, but everything's at bennyfisher.com. So
like it.
I appreciate you, Vince.
Right on. Okay. Thanks again for coming by. Thanks for listening to Leave Your Mark today. Tune into our next episode of Leave Your Mark with Vince Cortese. Be blessed.
You just left your mark. Thanks for listening. Listen to more episodes on demand. Just click Leave Your Mark with Vince Cortese.